Hi Virgo, welcome to your energy check-in. As you guys know, these readings are timeless and signless, so you don't actually have to have any Virgo in your chart, and you don't have to be accessing this video at the time that it's made. If you'd like to have a personal reading with me, you are more than welcome to. Yay! Just go ahead and follow the links, and you should find my Etsy page, and you can select from 16 different readings, yada yada yada. Okay? So let's jump into your reading for this time. Oh, yes, this card. Whatever this card is, Virgo already. I'm feeling the energies. Reluctant teacher. You know, I'm getting this energy of reluctant teacher coming out of the pack. But I feel in particular that it's more like you will be teaching yourself than any sort of outward action. So this could be manifesting as you teaching others as you teach yourself, or it could be about you focusing on teaching yourself, or both, right? But I definitely am getting a little bit of a vibe of a hermit energy. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was about you doing some independent study on the side. Oops, excuse me, on your own. Did I hit that? Okay. See doodles. Okay. All right. So yeah, I'm getting that this energy of you needing to get, yep, there it is, of you needing to get, it feels really meticulous. It's kind of like that Virgo OCD meticulous kind of energy where it's like, I need to get all my ducks in a row before I can have my shift and have my ascension, right? So I see that this is almost like you're telling spirit, please, I'm going to get on the path, or no, not get on the path, but I'll have my shift as soon as I'm done kind of working things out on my own. Does that make sense? For whatever reason, I just feel, and I just checked the time, 2 minutes and 2 seconds. Alignment, confirmation. But for whatever reason, I just feel like Virgo, you will know, if this reading is for you so far, you will know what I'm talking about and how it relates to your life in particular. So, I almost, I don't know if one of you asked me this or it just came to mind, but the question that I just heard was, is there stubborn energy going on? And I would say, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yes, I do feel some stubborn energy, Virgo, but the stubborn energy is not necessarily coming from this energy of rebellion or this energy of ego or like you're not my authority. No, it more comes from this energy of wanting to really be involved in looking at the fine details. It's almost like somebody saying, okay, well, let's go on to the next page. You're like, no, hold on. I want to look at every word, and then I want to look at the chart, and I want to look at, that's what you're trying to do. And in a sense, it kind of comes across a little bit as a stall tactic. So you may be stalling from moving forward by saying, well, I want my time to read through this entire book. I want my time to focus on all my learning and my healing and stuff before I have this shift, whatever this shift is. Now, whenever we do the readings, you might notice, guys, that I like to read from a higher perspective. So a lot of times I'll talk about these dynamics that are happening, but we always have to remember to look at how things may be manifesting at the physical, because a lot of people are able to understand the higher perspective by first going through the lower. So when I said that you want to put all your ducks in a row and you might be stalling energetically, it's your energy that's doing this, right? Before you have your shift, that's the dynamic from a higher perspective. But from the lower perspective, that's where the details are myriad, and that's where you guys will start to differ from each other. For example, let's take a look at here where it's about your shift. Your shift for you, for example, one person may come in the form of taking that job offer that was offered to you, right? That would be the physical manifestation of this shift, or this changing over, or this transition to something new, right? But before you do that, maybe you want to take time. Your boss told you about this job 2 months ago, and he's like, okay, or she's like, you don't have to make a decision until July, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, well, I want to let me think about it, and then they're like, well, you have that time, but you kind of want to, like, move it along. They may keep checking in with you every 2 weeks, like, hey, have you had a chance to really ask, come up with any questions that you'd like to ask me so I can forward to them? And you're like, no, 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 let me take my time. I want to look through each document, then I want to look at the area that they want me to move to, and I want to do this. And it's kind of like a stall tactic for you on some level in this example, because this 3D example, because maybe you haven't faced the fact that you're not quite ready to move out of the city that you're in, because maybe you had a really bad breakup there, and part of you doesn't want to admit that you're still hoping that something can be rekindled with that person, even though it's been a year, right? And so you see how being in that, you see how, like, that stalling can be an indication that you need to do some more inner work, right? Some more resolution work, some more forgiveness work, inner child work, cord cutting, things like that. So that's an example how a very upper dimensional energetic dynamic can be made manifest here. And of course, that was in a context of a new position being offered to you, but it could be anything. It could be a marriage, it could be going to school, it could be anything. So please, Virgo, keep that in mind. We just said that inner child work, clearing out the old stuff, that's karmic clearing right there. So that dynamic that we were seeing, where you are wanting to dot your I's and cross your T's, and you want to read through every page of, every energy and all of this, and there being that little energy of stalling, all of that requires karmic clearing. Either way, you will be doing some work on your karmic stuff, okay? But it's interesting. Let's look at those two cards, because the karmic clearing and the eternal now card have both come out. And Spirit is drawing a parallel between these two cards, but also drawing a parallel between these two cards and these two cards. So in a sense, how this is feeling to me is that there is a very real need to let go of some baggage. And that's something that you should be working on at this time. But as you let go of this baggage of yours, whether it be person, place, thing, or situation, as you let these things go, it's important to stay in the now moment and not to forget the reality of the now. For example, some of you may need to get your feet a little dirty with some shadow work as you try to clear yourself from old energies relating to, they're saying old patterns, thank you, Spirit, relating to past relationship or past relationships. But it is important to remember that you are no longer in those relationships in the now moment, and there is no need to rekindle these relationships in the now moment either. So don't get that into your mind just because you're starting to look at these old patterns that you had. Don't start, because maybe part of it is Spirit makes you bump into an old photo of you and so, right? And all of a sudden gets you in your feels and this and that. Don't get confused. That was Spirit's way of saying, hey, you're triggered. It's time to do some release work. It's not Spirit's way of, hey, you're triggered. Let's go down memory lane. Let's start wondering why we broke up in the first place. Let's reach out because I feel sorry. No, it's not about going backward. That's why they're drawing this parallel. It's about looking at what is in your way. Just as I said, what is in your way, I went to do that and look at this, unplug from the mass consciousness. But this card is often, for me, about disconnecting from a masculine energy. So in this case, it's talking about breaking up, right? Breaking up energy. So for some of you, that's still in the way. You haven't cleared, whether it's with a male, female, gender non-conforming, you haven't cleared the patterns and the energies. You may not even want so-and-so anymore. But I'll tell you what, the next person you attract is gonna be so-and-so point two, part two, okay? Because you have to look at the patterns there, and your guides. Thank you. Your guides are saying generational patterns, are resisting the change, right? Generational patterns. What are some examples of generational patterns? Maybe generational patterns look like repressing things. They look like codependence. They look like attachment issues. They look like anger stuff. They look like addictions. They look like, you know, narcissisms, or whatever. I don't know. Depends, right? But the point is that you have to also, thank you, Spirit. They're saying also denying the self. Yeah, that's a big one. A lot of us, it's passed down from generation to generation where people deny themselves. They don't practice the self-care. They don't give themselves compassion, all of that. So Spirit, again, just to reiterate, they're saying that as you go through this process here, on the, delving into stuff before you finally have that transition that you need, it's going to be very important to remember that as you do your karmic clearing and any shadow work, or if anything comes up and triggers you, it's not an invitation to go back. It's an invitation to understand the pattern, work on it, and clear it, and to stay in the now moment. Like, I just want to give one more analogy. If you're going through some boxes in the attic, if you come across some old scuba gear, I almost said it again, scuba gear, and of course it's, it's going to take you back to that great spring break you spent with your closest friends, and off some coast somewhere, and it was amazing, but you also had heartbreak there, and you just as much as you wouldn't just decide, I'm gonna book a scuba weekend this weekend, and you bring out all your scuba gear again and go, you wouldn't do that. No, you're going to continue clearing the attic. You might donate that. You might understand, oh, okay, but that was when we were younger. That was, and now I look back and that was crazy, right? So just be mindful, they're saying, to stay grounded as you work in your past patterns and whatnot, okay? All right, so in this card, I'm actually getting some maternal energies, right? So it's feeling like you're going to get an assist here. Somebody's going to be assisting you in a very maternal way. So if you don't actively have somebody, these two cards. If you don't actively have, thank you, Spirit, somebody in your circle who fits that bill, then it's going to be, I think one of your guides is going to step in to help you, okay? So, you're going to be having, and what would this maternal influence give you, right? The maternal influence, I think, is going to give you a sense of, compassion, a sense of compassion, of course, right? You're going to have, okay, so that's the dynamic, but let's look at the 3D version of that. What might that look like? That might look like you talking with your best friend, like, oh my God, I was just looking through some stuff and I started thinking about Alfred again, and like what we had, and it just hit me. I thought I was over this, and now I feel like maybe I owe him an apology, or maybe I should get in contact with your friend. Is going to be like, look, I get that you're feeling that way, and it's completely understandable. They're going to give you the compassion, right? It's completely understandable, and you guys had something. Let's face it, you had something. You were together for like 7 years, but and that's when so they'll show you the compassion. That's the maternal aspect, but then they're going to come in with the other aspects of maternal energy. Look, there's the power. Yeah, but you have to understand that you're a different person now, right? You're a different person now, and you're stronger now, and you've made different choices, and there was a reason why you did not stay where you were before. And when we look back, it's much easier to focus on the things that went well, and it's important from this standpoint that you look at why things did not go well, and then they'll probably give you some examples, right? See, that's them speaking power into you, faith into you. And then look at the waiting game, this card, it's them telling you, hold on, and this is them continuing the conversation, and there's a reason why you took the actions that you took, and I support you in that. And so I think it's a really great idea that as you're kind of like thinking back on Alfred, that you really remember that it's a process. It's going to take time to work through it, and like you said, maybe you didn't fully work through it, and honestly, these things are like layers. Sometimes you can't deal with it at the time, But as we get older, we're better able to, deal with things. And so just give yourself that time and process. And for the record, I don't think you should reach out to him because I think it's done. It's been done. And, we've both been here before. When we're still raw about something, we keep wanting to take actions, to not feel the feelings, but let's feel it. Because, once you pass this whole thing, you'll realize, I actually didn't need to reach out to him. And thank God, because that'd be opening up a whole new can of worms, right? And so that's the kind of friend you want to have in your corner, guys. You want to have that friend who's like, they meet you where you are emotionally, but then they speak that faith into you. They remind you about why you're doing what you're doing and why you did what you did, and they keep you moving forward, right? They can give you that stamina. I just heard that song Stamina, right, by our girl Sia. But anyway, so that's where I feel that some of you will be having this maternal influence for you. For some of you, it could actually be a mother. But remember, in this case, the way I'm feeling, the maternal aspect is looking at the compassion, the speaking faith into you, and also the reminding you of the process that you're going through and the fact that you just have to go through it and stick it out till the end. No way out but through, right? No way out but through. And, as I'm feeling these cards here, it feels like Virgo, that's kind of what you need. I think right now, the stalling energy that I was getting is because part of you wants mommy to give you permission. Part of you wants mommy to give you compassion. Part of you wants mommy to soothe your wounds, Give me permission to take that job that gets me to give up this space and move across country. Give me compassion for doing that hard thing that nobody really understood how hard it was, right? So recognize, Virgo, that there are just some things that you need right now, and that's part of why you're trying to stall, because you it's almost like you haven't had the emotional fulfillment that you need before you can fully move forward. And there's nothing wrong with that, but just recognize that a lot of times in general, when we stall with things and when we try to take our time with things, a lot of times it's really because we're not ready to move on to the next thing, because there's some need that we still have unfulfilled. And wisdom serves us if we can identify what that need is. And at least one of those needs for you, two we've uncovered. One is to go through the old patterns that you still haven't released. And the second is to have that mother influence on your life again. Okay, for right now. Excuse me, let me have some water. I just finished doing the Leo reading and totally knocked my glass completely over. So if you want a little comic relief, go feel free to look at the Leo reading. Oh, look at that, divine feminine. Okay, this energy does not feel maternal. In fact, this feels a little bit Virgo, that feels a little duplicitous in this sense. This energy is coming through a little bit of a shadow. It's a little bit of a smoke and mirror energy. So this is another energy in your field. Now, it's one that feels inauthentic. And so to be honest, we have to bring it back down to the 3D. They're really having me do that 3D for some of you here on this call, which is fine, but I just noticed the pattern. The way that this may manifest for you on this 3D, I'm saying 3D in this physical, this inauthentic dynamic is like, oh, everything's fine. Oh yeah, I'm fine. When people ask, oh yeah, no, I'll get this taken care of. It's going to be okay. Right? So it's the part of you that wants to act like everything is fine, everything is taken care of, and most importantly that you understand everything that's happening. But I actually see above your head, a little bit to your left actually, is some confusion. There's some confusion, and I'm getting also another shadow here, and it's feeling like it's a shadow in a shadow. It's like I'm confused, but I'm not going to admit it to people. I'm just going to keep my ear out to see if I can get advice from other people without asking for it. Okay? Come on, Virgs. Which is kind of going back into what we were just talking about with you kind of wanting permission. And you have to let your guard down a bit, because if you want advice on something, don't be afraid to ask. Just ask. And if you struggle to ask, I feel that this is a moment where you have to realize, maybe I have been in my ego for quite some time, and I've set myself up so that I may appear to other people as one way. And now, which is very capable, very capable, very independent. I can do it myself. Very resourceful, all of this. And now that you actually need help, Virgo, it's like you're not able, or you're afraid to, or unwilling to separate yourself from this persona that you have built. But you have to understand that great leaders are able to step out of that role sometimes. As a leader, of course, you're supposed to, one of the hallmarks of a good leader is being able to project an image of knowing what's going on, even though inside they don't know, right? They may not know, but they're there to make decisions. But great leaders also understand that there's no shame in saying, guys, this is one that I feel very stumped on. And you may be stumped. Tell them why you're stumped and ask, what do you think? And if you want to feel more, if you want to appear to be more in control because, your ego needs it or whatnot, just go ahead and say, guys, I could sure use your input on this. This is the situation, and this is my understanding of it. And this is what I think is the best course of action. But I would love to see what you guys consider this situation to be, and see how our perceptions on the situation relate. And then let me see what you suggest I should do, what your ideas I should do. And I'll take all of that into consideration, and then I'll make my decision, because this is a huge decision, whatever the decision is, right? But you see, that is the mark of a good leader, because a good leader doesn't pretend to know everything, right? They don't act like they don't make mistakes and they this and that. It's about saying, yes, I'm in leadership, and yes, I can make good decisions, and yes, I do make good decisions, but my decisions are based on good, solid input. And right now, based on the decision that I need to make, I feel that I don't have enough information in order to make that decision. And I find myself needing and even wanting to see what other people think, because I think that will make all the difference in me being able to make a decision that's right for me. There's totally nothing wrong with that. And so Virgo, that will help you to beat that shadow. The shadow there is not asking for help. It could also be an indication, like I said earlier, of projecting a certain sense of self that, is unsustainable, okay? And Virgo, we know you don't want to make a bad decision, so please be mindful, right? Okay, family of light. Interesting. Let's look at that. Wow, another shadow coming up. So family of light in this case, this feels a little like you. It's a two-sided coin. On the one side of the coin, we have you cutting out the voices of those around you, the voices of, say, family members or close people around you. It's almost like you've shut them out. You're ignoring their advice or it's like you're shutting them out. Maybe you don't feel that they can contribute to what you're doing, that they have anything of value, or maybe you don't like some of them, but I just see you ignoring them, almost like they don't matter. But then on the other side, I'm seeing this energy of you kind of failing to recognize the value that they have. Does that make sense? So it's a two-sided coin, and we can see this because here you are, super cute, with your eyes closed, and you've got these family members there, and they're trying to tell you stuff, but on the one hand, you're blocking them out. That's it. That's the word. Not, I don't want to just say ignoring. That's so strong, but it's kind of like blocking them out. I'm blocking out. Oh, okay, yeah, okay, thanks, thank you. Dismissing them. And on the other, and rightfully so for some of them. I'm feeling some of them are definitely rightfully so. But on the other hand, I'm getting that you're missing the boat a bit here as well. So going back to what we were kind of talking about, and this may include tact. Sometimes Virgos don't have tact. I know you're like, oh, excuse me, but let's be honest, and I can say that because I have a Virgo rising, but I also have an Aries sun, and we know Aries people don't have tact. Okay, love you Aries, but it's true. But yeah, but sometimes Virgos can be really cut and dry about things, and it comes across as a little cold and whatnot. Not all the time. If it's somebody that they really love and they're close to, okay. But God forbid the Virgo don't respect your opinion. It's like, geez, I do matter, hello, right? And so you do have to watch that. You don't. So in a nutshell, this shadow is your dismissiveness, okay? And this shadow is you not wanting. This is a double shadow. Remember, you creating a persona, a public persona of yourself that says you've always got the right answer and that you don't need anyone's help. And the other shadow involved in there is that you therefore choose to indirectly, find out information without fully coming out and asking for it, right? So that's a double shadow there. And then this shadow would be the dismissiveness. So remember, the bigger they are, the harder they fall, Virgo, okay? So please, if this is sounding like you, don't feel, beat up and whatnot, because look, we all, maybe this is just a month that Spirit is saying watch these energies, because there are certain things going on in your life that you probably want help to navigate. And not only is Spirit's advice about these traits helping you to navigate, but also if you follow the advice itself, that will also help you to navigate. So Spirit is saying to be mindful of being dismissive of others. And listen, we all love our Saturday morning specials from back in the day, and it's many an episode maybe where maybe that one kid doesn't have much to offer. Like they try to offer something, but it's off topic, it's not helpful, it's whatever. But at the end of the day, it's your kindness that matters. You don't want to dismiss somebody. Next thing, they're on a therapist's couch for 30 years because no one ever took them seriously. They just wanted to be themselves and they never felt useful. And do you really want to meet that when you go to the other side? And we have to talk about Jeremy. You're like, Jeremy? Yeah, the kid that you and didn't care for, that kind of thing. Yeah, okay, so just be careful. All right. Yeah, oh, what is that energy? Oh, okay. As I'm seeing this, they're pointing us all. Oh, okay, then this. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Oh, there's masculine and feminine. Get it. As I'm looking here at this card, I'm seeing they're saying that this is a moment in your life where, of course, we've just shown some shadows, where you're going to kind of have to look at yourself from a macroscopic and also a microscopic view. So it's about looking at the things about you that you don't necessarily like, but also looking at the things about you that you do, right? And I mean really get in there, which is exactly what Virgo, what I feel that you were kind of saying that you were going to do at the beginning of this call, when the idea was like, oh, I'm going to dot my I's and cross my T's. I just want to look at everything before I have this major shift. And when is your shift? I don't know. Maybe in December. And so that means for the next few months, it's going to be about looking at yourself. And in particular, I'm getting looking at the tall tales that you tell yourself. Okay, so now we're getting into this energy of denial. All right, so again, it all goes hand in hand. Where are we not being honest with ourselves about who we are and what we say we are about. It's cognitive dissonance, right? Let me go ahead and, do I want to use these cards? No. Let's switch cards. Yay, one of my favorite decks is this one, the Akashic Tarot. Gosh. By Sharon Ann and Sandra Ann. I think it was Sandra Ann Taylor and Sharon Ann Klingler? I don't know. But they're twins. Super cute. Gosh, so sweet. Some of you may already know them, but I used to listen to them back in the day when they were on Hay House Radio. I don't know if they're still on there, but I was a big Hay House Radio junkie back in the day. That's a truth card. True. Okay. All right. So I'm seeing a little tendency here, Virgo. Ooh, Virgo, be careful. Again, two energies coming through here. Oh, and right on top of the truth card. Yeah, this is a big lesson. There's a lesson in arrogance here is the first thing I'm getting. So don't be mindful. Be mindful about that, Virgo. There's a lesson in arrogance. But there's also a lesson in straying from doing your path, right? It's like distracting yourself. There's a lesson in distracting yourself from what it is that you're trying to do. So just watch that. Sometimes when, maybe that's the denial. Sometimes when we have those hard truth bombs about ourselves, it can be hard to take, right? But we want to kind of shore up, take it, go ahead, lick our wounds, whatnot, and then get back in the game and try to make, try to make those concessions. Try to make those changes that are necessary. Look at my Virgo rising, like trying to fix these cards. Okay, let it go, let it go. I can't. They must be pretty. All right, I'm going to let it go. Okay, just kidding. Right there. Okay, now I'm just kidding. I'm letting it go. All right. Yeah, because I do see part of you is poised to get moving, to start doing new things. But be careful because, stop it. Because this card, when it fell out, I was more focusing on this card, but a quick look at this card said, be careful. And now after I just said, be careful, I'm looking at this card again and look, path 1, path 2, path 3, paths unknown. Because I was going to say, but be careful because if you stray from this path of inner work, it might be because of your distractions. Now look at the dynamic I'm getting. The dynamic that I'm getting is that I am doing my inner work, but I feel a lot of shame and I don't like knowing these things about me. And so I'd rather not know these things about me. I'm going to unconsciously decide to do something else. Let me focus on getting a new car. Let me focus on that. Let me go hang out. Let me go and see. It's like, excuse me, you're supposed to be over here looking at your truth instead of looking over there. And then when you look over there, it's you again looking over there. Stop getting distracted and get back on the journey. Dude, they are killing it with these cards. Kill it, God, right? Get back on the journey because you know what? It's like if you don't do that, you're going to go the wrong way. Take a path you shouldn't. Focus on what you're doing. Ouch, it hurts. Ouch, now I heard I was arrogant. Ouch, I heard that my ego was there. Ouch, it hurts that I have to let people know I don't know what I'm doing. I need help and oh my God. But you know what? Everybody is going to have ouchies in this lifetime. And I'll tell you what, if they're not having these ouchies, and I know because I'm a shadow worker, guys, I get into those shadows. So a lot of these people out here claiming that they're good and I worked through that and I'm this and that and I'm going to get married next week. And listen, I'm looking straight in their energy field and I'm like, okay, well, you good luck with that, you know? And that time they possibly, it's a karmic situation, karmic job, karmic person, karmic everything because they haven't done the work. And had they done the work, when it came time now to attract, husband or wife or whatever, they would have attracted somebody who would be more in a loving space with them and it would be less karmic work, right? And vice versa. So my point is, oh look, I just touched this card, loving elementals. Yeah, see? And so you see, the point here is that you have to, um, you know, drink of the tree of knowledge, because the tree of knowledge is here and I guess it makes water. I don't know. You have to eat of the tree of knowledge or sit under the tree of knowledge, self knowledge, in order to truly understand yourself, to respect yourself, to know where you're going, to know what you're doing. And that, my dear, is where you're at. I'm suddenly starting to get a very retrograde energy here. I almost said Mercury retrograde, but I don't necessarily feel it has to be Mercury. I'm getting a retrograde energy here in the sense that some of you are working on things again that you have not worked, like you have not mastered. And so, a friend of mine who does astrology, shout out M Intuition Tarot, God bless, on YouTube and on Instagram, she's now called the One Woman Show. So funny. She's also a Virgo rising, and we're born on the same day, not year. I'm older. Yay! Yay! Anyway, so she also mentioned that whenever you have retrogrades in your natal chart, that it usually indicates an area of your life that you've come back in this lifetime to relearn, right? And so for whatever reason, Spirit is now using that image right now in this reading to say that, my dear, if this reading is for you, these are energies that these are lessons that you need to relearn. So it makes sense that you would take some time to really delve in there, really get your stuff going, but please, please, please avoid stalling and avoid distractions, because if you're not careful, I feel like these distractions will come up in an unconscious way. It's like trying to get you to look at other things, go hang out, do this, do that, instead of feeling the feelings, owning up to what's going on, taking the action steps, whatever those action steps are for you. And as you know, say it together with me, that's the realm of a personal reading. Yay! Because you all have different energies. And so these are shared dynamics, but in the realm of a personal reading, and you get your personal readings, whether from me or from somebody else, that's when you can actually get ideas on what those action steps are, how you're approaching them, and the whys and wherefores. But anyway, so yeah, just watch this, okay? Now, they're sending me back in this deck, which I'm super excited about because I really do love this deck. God bless. And I'm noticing the power of the masculine card right over that too, really showing that, yeah, guys, watch that, watch that sabotage energy, self-sabotage energy, big time, okay? You'll know, they're saying you'll know if it's you sabotaging the energy, because it almost feels like, let's say if you're using your friendships to self-sabotage, when you know you should stay home this weekend and really focus on doing this stuff, you're delving into whatever work you're supposed to do for yourself, you are self-sabotaging with taking your time up with friends and socializing this weekend. And you'll know if you're self-sabotaging, because if you really look at it, you realize, oh, I'm the one pushing everyone to work, to hang out, to work out with me, or to do this, right? I'm the one calling, be like, hey, you free? Hey, I got some stuff to do, but I'm free around 2. You know that you're not going to be done at 3 hanging out with your buddy. You're going to be done at 7 p.m. And there you've just lost a lot of your weekend, right? The Buddha prepares. Look at the Buddha preparing for what? To go inward. And so that's why we're telling you this now. Yeah, thank you, Spirit. They're saying, yeah, that was them jumping right in. Get it? That's why we're telling you this now. Look at that. Yeah, the force, the sheer force of this desire to self-sabotage. Be careful, okay? But they're also saying that they're going to jump in and help you, to help redirect you with the force of this waterfall. This is the second time the karmic card has come out, okay? So you are going to be working on some stuff. So when I say they're going to jump in and help you, it means that, like, if they start to see you, if they see you starting to go off track or trying to do other things, they're going to jump in and try to buffer by introducing something else. So maybe you try to set up a hangout session with somebody, and guess what? Those plans fall through. That's because your guides were like, nope. Look, two worlds. That's you, Virgo. Yeah. So you're in two worlds about something. You're not completely focusing, and so just watch that. The Queen of Forces, diversity. I love this. So what these two cards are actually showing me is that there's a soul contract here that you kind of have with yourself. And the soul contract, which is, yeah, that's what I'm saying, this hermit energy. So again, this is about you. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it was about you and just you kind of being alone, maybe taking some alone time. But there's this hermit energy where you're being asked to pull in, but you're doing it for you. That you can't see it properly. Well, maybe you guys can, but that card is you, super cute, holding that contract, and you're approaching your dynamic higher dimensional self. You see how she is controlling the sun and the moon. So this is you down here agreeing to work in alignment with your higher self to get this job done. Now, long story short, what is this job? This job is you doing your inner work so that you can have that transition or that ascension or that shift that you need. I'm seeing that this is going to take, the process is going to take about 4 to 8 months. And I know you're like, what? Some of you are like, no, that's not long. And you're right, it's not long, because the truth is, life in and of itself is this continuous journey of inner work. The thing is that most people choose to do this inner work very unconsciously. And so what happens is they just keep getting slammed with experiences. I'm just experiencing, I'm experiencing, I'm experiencing, I'm experiencing. And great, we're always experiencing. But listen, why not, as you experience, also reflect? That is the big difference between somebody who gets an A+ in class, right? And somebody who gets out with a D or C. And I'm not saying that if you just experience and you don't sit and reflect that you can't have a life well lived. Look, you're going to live life. We're all going to live life, but you're going to keep making the same mistakes, and you're going to keep, and if you're not careful and you have certain defense mechanisms and certain perceptions, you'll keep playing the victim for the rest of your life, or keep being the martyr for the rest of your life until you wake up. Why am I having these experiences all the time? Why does this always happen? And then you're going to start realizing the common denominator is you. And there are certain things that you have to understand. Whatever you see outside and you describe to someone else is your perception of what's happening. It's highly unstable, right? Because it's filtered through your lens. And if you're not objective, and mankind in general struggles to be objective because we literally work within the realm of perception here on earth, right? If you're not objective, then you know that there's always going to have to be work done. And how do we get to as objective a state of being as we can? First, we understand that the only objective thought is that only love is real, as A Course in Miracles points out. Only love is real. If we're seeing anything other than love, it is a misperception. And for some people, they so can't see that they'll find that statement in and of itself controversial. And that's fine. But the point is that you must always be reflecting on what you're experiencing. And the more that you heal the inner wounds by looking at your inner children, your inner child, your rejection wounds, your abandonment wounds, your lack of deservability, your poverty consciousness, your all of that stuff, when you look at those things and you start to see, number one, wow, ouch, I have feelings about this. I'm going to sit and I'm going to feel them. Why am I not letting people know that I need help? Why do I have this need to feel like I know everything? What is this all about? Right? And when you get into that part of yourself, that's when you have your greatest chance to quote unquote be alive. Because the whole point of being alive is to reflect. You have the emotion, you have the event, it triggers the emotion, you reflect. You change something. That's the process. But if you're just having situations, like, what are we doing? Right? And that's the very mark of when they say somebody is unawakened. Awakening is about stepping into reflection. Case closed, right? And so, Virgo, to bring that back around, I know I'm preaching to the choir because Virgos are literally the teachers of the zodiac, right? So teach us, but like we opened up saying, Virgo is going to be teaching themselves. And so in this case, you are the student, right? And so moving forward, it behooves you to really take it upon yourself to make the most of this time and to focus on you and ask yourself, well, what do I need? Yes, you could do some shadow work. Yes, you can do some energy shifts. And yes, I do offer all those services. But also what you can do is you can just sit down. You can just ask spirit to come to you in your dreams, to have you working in your dreams, taking classes in your dreams. It's very real because the dream space is you being out of your body. You can do anything. You know, I've taken tap dancing lessons and I've seen in the non-physical at night, and I've seen the results in the physical, right? When I wake up, there you can do anything. So use that time. So you can ask them to do that. You can just sit down with a pen and paper and write down all the traumas you've had, and then you can sit and reflect on each one. And you can also tap on them using emotional freedom technique. You can find out what EFT or tapping is by checking out the tapping solution, right? By Nick Ortner, Ortner, or his sister. I think his sister's name is Jessica Ortner. They both do this stuff. But you can just type in tapping into YouTube and go find out all about that. Just tap on each of these traumas, right? So that's another way you can do it. You can sit and you can say, Spirit, please help me to find the modality that is best for me. You might find out that Spirit directs you to art classes, or even just sends you to an art you're driving home one day and for whatever reason you feel like you need to stop off at the art supply store, or you're carpooling with somebody on the way home and they're like, I just got to run into the art store really quickly, and you're like, oh my God, I'll come. And while you're in there, you buy one paintbrush and you buy one color, and that color is fuchsia, or that color is black, or that color is white, or whatever color, and you go home. And then you may just be inspired by Spirit to just paint without one thing. And as you're painting, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling angry as I paint. And when I'm painting, my anger is coming out. Or wow, this part of me feels sad as I paint this. And then you realize, oh my God, this was the answer to my prayer. Spirit has given me art therapy to, express. So you see, doing our inner work is not all going to be just about you and a box of tissues, although that is very nearly always a part of anything that you end up doing when you're doing this work, right? It's about enjoying the process. It's about loving who you are. And as you go through this stuff and you learn more about yourself, you start to be like, hey, I'm pretty awesome. Like, I'm investing a lot in myself, with this art situation, I put a lot of thought into it. I journaled a lot. I'm doing tapping. I'm connecting with my angels. I think that was an angel. I saw like a feather roll by, and I don't know, but I felt like it was them. I thought I saw a cat that reminded me of my father, but my father's not here anymore. He's transitioned. So what? But I'm sure that was my dad. So you see, you need to open up to this process as being a magical one. Going inward doesn't always have to be a bad thing. And it doesn't always mean that you're going to be the villain in your story. But I'm just going to, Virgo, you've always been a straight shooter. I'm just going to let you know. When you do inner work, you are the villain in your story. Case closed. When you do the work, it's not your mom, it's not your dad, it's not your ex, it's not that guy who pushed you down the stairs. You are the villain in your story, but you are also the hero in your story. And that's just And look, it's one of those statements again that until people do the work and they get to a certain point, they will find it controversial, they will find it unbelievable, they will find it willy-nilly, they will say things like, oh, that's woo-woo. And at the end of the day, if you want to stay stuck at that level, listen, do you, boo-boo? But that's, that's not how we roll. At least not the people who tap into these videos that I make, right? So this is about gathering your strength, God bless, and asking spirit to come into your space, although they already are there. This is just about you asking yourself to be made aware, right? And ask them to help you. That's all there is to it. You've already done such great work, and just keep going. That's all there is to it. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and leave it there because, we can go on. And yeah, so if you'd like to have a personal reading with me, feel free to reach out. God is good. And until then, just, enjoy your process. Okay, Virgo? You've got this.